So I believe this is the third WISSOTA training, WISSOTA webinar. Last time I believe you guys left off, you were talking about race management, creating payments and printing checks, things of that nature. Tonight it's going to be a little different. We're going to talk about online tickets, reserve seating, which is new this year. We'll go into some of the ways you can update the website, posting news to the network. We're going to talk about MRP Fantasy, and we'll get into some reports and other contact lists, things like that. So I apologize if a lot of you have maybe seen this before, and I'm sure there's some new ones on here as well. So I'm going to share my screen, and that will allow you to follow along. So hopefully it shows up for you here in a moment. So again, we're on our test profile, which is your favorite track. When you guys log into your dashboard, this is where you'll be taken. So the first thing we want to talk about is online tickets. So online tickets actually has its own little portal here off to the left-hand side. It's a little ticket icon. I'm going to go in there. Not necessarily going to go all the way through the ticket adding process. I think it's fairly straightforward, but this is basically where you're going to, you'll add your tickets. You got your reports here. There's also different messages that you can apply to your tickets. So this is some of the rain policy and different terms that you might want to print when people go to print their tickets out. There's a thank you message for when they complete their order. And then, there's these other coupons and things that you can put on there to help promote the next event, or maybe you want to do $1 off at the concession stand or what have you. So just a lot of different stuff in here that you want to familiarize yourself with. I'll show you what the add ticket screen looks like here. It's going to ask you to select an event. So obviously by now you guys will have your events available. So you'll just go out here, choose the event that the tickets are for, and add the ticket. It's going to ask you for a bunch of different dates, when the sales start, pre-sale, different things like that, when you want the tickets to close. And then for our general admission tickets, there's a variety of pre-built sort of sections and ticket types. So you got your GA tickets, everything from adult to kids, military, just a variety of different options here. VIP tickets, we have them labeled out as reserve tickets, but this particular method of adding the ticket doesn't actually get you like the section row seat. We'll get into that in a second here. This would be just like if you have a whole, say, section D is reserved, you could do that via this sort of self-serving method here. If you want them to be able to do where they can actually go in there and pick their seat, like I said, we'll get into that here in a second. But so yeah, you basically just fill out all this, your pricing, everything along those lines, and your ticket will show up. You can always go in and edit it before you activate it. So this is kind of the details of one that's been filled out already. One thing of note, I guess, that you'll see down here is the quantity on hand. If you see a -1 there, that means it's unlimited. Otherwise, what you could do is you could actually just say that you only have maybe you only have 100 tickets available. If you're doing like one of these reserve sections or something, maybe there's only 100 people that can fit in there. So did somebody let Callie in? I just saw a note here. Callie was waiting to get in. Oh, I didn't see her pop up. If you see her pop up, let her in, I suppose. But yeah, I guess I should have covered that at the beginning. Somebody figured that out. There's a little chat thing there. We'll do our best to respond there as we can. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. There's a little hand icon there. It'll pop up, and we can kind of interact that way. There's Callie. So, hey, Callie, did you make it in? I think she's with us. But anyhow, the rest of the tickets here, like I said, it's fairly self-explanatory, and we're here if you do have any questions about adding these tickets. One of the more important things that I should point out, if you are going to sell tickets online, we have an ACH form that will be filled out so that we can, obviously we take care of all the payment processing on the front end, but then once your event is over with, we want to get you those funds. So there's an ACH form available for you to fill out and send in, and think usually every Monday or Tuesday, Josh goes through and processes those, so you get your funds delivered as quickly as possible for the tickets that you've sold in the previous week.
Ross?
Yeah, go ahead, Kayla.
Do you still have some people waiting to get in, or?
I don't see any right now.
Well, I will tell them to get out and come back in.
Yeah, I'm not seeing them there. Chris, do you see anybody?
I do not. No.
It's Cameron. I'll tell her to go out and come back in. I think when we started, it said that we were in meeting 2 or something.
Oh, that's possible. Maybe there are some over there. Chris, do you want to maybe hop off and go? I'll send you that link.
Yeah, send me the link and I'll go ahead and get it to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Hopefully they can pop in here. We'll give them just a couple minutes. I guess while we're waiting there, we can chat about that season tickets there that's being mentioned in chat. So with the reserve seating, we do have some ways to do that where you can basically block off saying that these tickets have been more or less pre-sold. Like I said, we're just getting into the reserve seating stuff this year. We've got a lot of requests and things, but it is fully functional. But season tickets are one of the things that we can do through reserve seating. So if that was what you were looking at, we could definitely add season tickets as sort of being blocked off there. Otherwise, what you can do, I've seen some people use just like our standard e-commerce platform to sell those online tickets. So if you want to sell like a ticket book or a ticket packet or something like that, you can use our e-commerce tools, and you basically just put up there, season tickets starting in April, ending in August or whatever, every date, or maybe exclude a couple dates if you have a special or something.
Well, one of the ideas that we came up with was we can do the coupons when you sell a ticket, right?
Yeah.
Would it be possible to have it put in there where we could create a season ticket that's punchable, and that would only come up if you decided to purchase a season ticket?
So those coupons are a part of an event ticket. So when they buy the event ticket, they would get that coupon. You could have your coupon resemble a punch card. I'm just not sure then
how you'd go about making sure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get that
exactly.
part. We were bouncing that idea around when we were looking at it last year when we were creating our website and all that stuff, and we're like, well, maybe it's possible. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would actually work if you were to say maybe you just choose a date in March or something that your tickets are available, or maybe have them on April 1st, whatever the date may be.
Yeah,
You could
that was
probably-
another idea, was to make them available to purchase a month prior to the races even beginning, so
Right.
that if you didn't get your season ticket before, say, the first part of March, you're out of luck. So
Yeah, exactly. I think that would actually work. Like if you were to do that, and then you just set your pricing accordingly, they would get the printout for the coupon that has the punch card on it.
Yep.
I think in effect that would do what you're looking to do. But yeah, I think a lot of tracks do like what Debbie's saying there, where it's a pre-printed set of tickets, and they just
yeah, because you've always got your diehards that
Yeah. Right, exactly. So yeah, with that, Chris, did you find anybody over there in the other?
Every link I click that you sent me sends me right back to here. So I'm not sure where they're going to get to last week.
She's in now.
Okay.
You just had to get all the way out and come all the way back in. So.
Okay, good deal.
And to add to that too, there with the season tickets, a lot of our racetracks do physical tickets as well with hole punches on them. We also do tickets customized as well too for tracks as well. So it's something you're interested in, and something can certainly help it as well too.
And if you guys would, anybody that I don't know, I mean, I know a lot of you that are on here, anybody I don't know or that hasn't been in here, please write who you are and what track you're from, as I need to keep track of that. So couple names in here I'm not familiar with.
Oh, so I'm supposed to, because I missed the first 2 episodes, I'm supposed to watch those webinars and then email you?
Well, yeah, and what is your name?
Sam Willoughby, Big Sky Speedway.
Oh, hi, Sam. It's Callie.
How you doing?
So I know who you are now. So yes, go ahead and watch those. And everybody that's on now, you've heard it before, but I'll say it again. If you are not watching this live with me, make sure if you watch these, you let me know that you're on. This is mandatory. Your track will be fined $250 per the promoters voting that in if you don't let me know that you have made these. So please make sure if I don't have your name or your track's name on something else, you got to let me know you watched them. Thank you.
Yeah, one thing, they're putting it in the chat. I think they need to email you because she won't have access to the chat log.
I have my daughter writing it all down.
Okay, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we talked about setting up the tickets then, getting us that ACH form so that we can get you paid up. I guess as far as the actually going through the process, this is available in Sandbox as well. So if you want to, try it out, obviously give it a shot, see what questions you have. But online tickets is just one of those things that it's included in your plan, like you're already paying for it. So there's really no reason to not at least offer it for your fans. Even you think you might have 10% of the people that would do it, that might be a low number, but it might actually end up being 20%. You might be surprised. So with that, maybe Chris, if you wanted to chime in on a few other points of interest there.
How much does MRP charge?
Yeah, so with that, our ticket process, as a promoter, you will receive 100% of your tickets sold. So if you're selling a $10 or $15 ticket, you're going to get 100% of that profit. When the fan goes to purchase a ticket through the software, they'll have a $1.90 service charge tagged on their total, $1.90. And then they'll have generally around a 3 to 4% processing fee, depending on what credit card they use. I think the high end of that is like 5% with American Express, but it's not very common. Generally, it comes to like $3 or $4 extra bucks in fees on there. So nothing really outrageous. A $10 ticket might come to 13, 14 bucks total after fees. Compare that to, like I tell everybody, Ticketmaster. I bought tickets to a football game before, and 2 tickets cost me $600 after fees. I had $1,100 total. So we keep ours very, very low, very low. So in the fans, I've always been a huge proponent of online ticketing. It's a huge deal, especially for the younger generation as well too. They will purchase tickets. They will for sure purchase tickets. And sometimes
put those down.
The younger fan doesn't even realize sometimes that tickets can be purchased at the door anymore. They think it's only online. So especially when you have a program that's free to use for you guys, we don't charge for using the online ticketing program. It's a no-brainer win-win for everybody just to have them out there and get your tickets in advance.
And you've talked to them about the rainout too, if that happens.
Yeah, so the Rainout, the way that works, if you guys we do handle all your event cancellations, and I kind of stress the event cancellation portion. If you guys do Rainout for your event, you go in the system, and where it says on the Winter Series Final in bold, just below that, there's that get refund / full refund right there. You get funds there. That button right there, that confirms the event status, and you'll just let us know the system, hey, we're rained out, we canceled the event completely, and we will go ahead and refund your fans for you, so there's no hassle. On top of that, was it last year or 2 years ago, Ross, where we added in the ability for promoters to refund individual tickets before the event. I don't ever recommend that because the whole point in online tickets is to have that money guaranteed. But if you guys do allow refunds, say someone's grandmother died or they had an emergency, they can't go to your event, you can go ahead and now refund that individual ticket without refunding everybody's as well.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I just want to take a real quick look at what that looks like. So we do have on MyRacePass.com, and if you have a website through us, we can put a link on the website obviously as well, but we do have under events this find tickets page here. So if you have tickets available, we show obviously on this page where you can go to grab those tickets. Once you get there, I'm just going to go to a track here recently that we set up. So Grays Harbor Raceway out in Washington. I go to their schedule. You can see they have tickets added for each event. So this is how it would work for you guys as well. And again, if you have a website through us, we'd show a little button there where they can go to get their tickets. With that, then I'm going to kind of jump us over to the reserve tickets. So this event here that they have in September for the Outlaws, they have our new reserve ticket platform available. So when you go in here, this is what this is going to look like, where you can actually choose the seat where you want to sit. So yeah, this is what I was mentioning before, where there's more setup for this side of it, whereas the non-reserve seating, you guys are able to kind of do that yourselves at your leisure, so to speak. If you are looking to do this reserve seating, even if it's just for maybe 1 or 2 specials that you have throughout the year, we just need to know probably 4 or 5 weeks in advance so that we can take the time to set this all up for you. We're gonna probably request for like an aerial view of your track, the number of seats that you have in each section, things like that, so we can build out this map for you. So it's not something that you have to take on yourself. You basically just have to supply us with a little bit of information, and then we can build this reserve seating map for you. The customer will then just come in here. You can have your fans choose where they want to sit, and the process then continues like it otherwise would. It's just instead of choosing a predetermined ticket, they actually choose the seat where they want to sit. So again, reserve seating, it is included in your plan. Where we're not charging any extra for setup at this point, since it is something that's rather new. So if it is something you're interested in, just let us know, and we'd be happy to get you set up. So
I would recommend that you go ahead and let them get you set up, give them your stuff so they can get you a seating chart and all of that. Because as he said, they are not charging for it right now. Absolutely, get your stuff in there, try it out. We are going to use it for the WISSOTA 100 this year, so
Nice.
we trust them. We trust them with their new stuff. We're going to use it for the 100. So go ahead and get that in. At least get your seating chart and try it out.
yeah, absolutely. It's something we've been working on for a long time. It's something we've wanted for even longer. But last couple of years here, we've been building this, and we're pretty satisfied with where it's at. There's always more bells and whistles that we're going to add. But like Callie said, certainly let us know, and we'd love to work with you on that. So Chris, with that.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about tickets here too, guys, I mentioned that tickets are available, that fans buy them where they go. I know there are some promoters here that haven't quite come on board to use online ticketing here, but just an example, that link I sent you here. I mean, if you go anywhere for upcoming games, even on like ESPN.com, you can see right there to upcoming games, they even promote tickets for the events going on too. And you also want to get your fans excited too. How many times have you seen a concert have tickets on sale and they're sold out in a matter of 10 minutes? I mean, Garth Brooks is a big deal. So get your fans excited for the event and really tell your fans, hey, buy your tickets now. And you can get fans excited for an event that's 6 months out. I mean, it's really a great way to do that. Obviously, using our program is great, but I mean, even if you find a different program, use tickets in general. I mean, there's got to be something out there to get your tickets online and get fans at your events.
Do you guys also, like say they set the whole thing up and they had section A through D. Now they, for some reason, they only want to sell section C and D, the top 10 rows. Can you turn them off and turn them on so that they have the whole map set up, but they only can sell this many?
Yeah, we would actually set it up so that you'd have your individual seats, like what you saw there on Grays Harbor. And then we'd have other blocks of seats, like say, can't remember if any of these are like that or not, but say this whole section over here was actually general. We would just instead of showing individual seats, we would just have a big rectangle there and say that there's 160 seats available in that rectangle. So you can kind of do both at the same time, where you have certain sections that are reserved and then certain sections that are general admission. So
can you take that and have it like that and then turn some, say you only want the top 4 rows of all 3 of these turned on so that people can sell them?
Yep.
I mean, people can buy them, and as they sell out, you can turn other rows on. Can you do that?
We can. That turns into a little bit more work and a lot of back and forth, but
we did that for the WISSOTA 100 one time. Right. That's the only reason I'm asking.
Yep. No, we can certainly do things like that. But like I said,
Okay.
it turns into more back and forth. But that is
Yep.
a possibility that we can make
Okay.
that happen.
All right.
And Brenda, to your point, yes, at this point we are only U.S. dollars, unfortunately. That's something in the works for the distant future here, not too distant future. But yeah, unfortunately, we are only U.S. dollars at this point right now for online ticket sales.
Yeah, that's one thing that we really need to tackle at some point. But as you can imagine, it's a little bit easier said than done, unfortunately. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, and even like you said, sell tickets online. Look what you guys, Brenda said that 60% of her tickets were sold online.
Yeah.
You guys can certainly get to that. So keep it, the people that are in the US, keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's what I always kind of just say, like, if somebody's thinking about going to the races, or they see a post on Facebook or maybe a video of last weekend's races, get them while they're excited, get them to buy the ticket days in advance, because then when the day comes and it's 3:00 on Saturday, they've already got a ticket. They're not going to be like, well, let's just do this instead. They've already committed. So the sooner you can get your tickets out there, the sooner you can get them to, at least pick and choose which events they want to go to, and they're not waiting until the day of the event and then deciding to just go to the neighbors and watch whatever on TV. So,
and that ticket money.
It is easy afterwards to just go ahead and print the list, right, of who bought the tickets. As
Exactly.
they come through, you just mark that off, and it's very easy afterwards also.
Yep. And not only that too, one of my favorite features, even though it's not really a big part of what we do, is the ticket scanner on the MyRacePass app now. It's really cool to use. I've used it a few times. You can use the MyRacePass app now to scan in MyRacePass tickets. So instead of having your online ticket purchasers still wait in line at the door, now they can go right to the front gate, scan ticket in wirelessly, and they're in a matter of seconds, which makes it even better to buy your tickets online now too. So we do have a way for those that want to go that route and use the MyRacePass app. Just have your staff download the app on their own phone. And then what we'll need from you is the person's first name and last name and the email address they use to log into the app with. That way we can add them as a ticket scanner, but not add them as an admin on your overall account. So if it's just a part-time guy that's just working concession stands or working the front gate, you probably don't want him as an admin on the account. You probably want him just as a ticket scanner. So we can do that now with that ticket scanner, where all he can do is scan tickets in.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So there's no extra hardware or anything like that you guys need to buy. A lot of the other companies, you might have to go out and purchase X, Y, or Z in order to make this work. But this is actually, like Chris said, the scanner runs right through the MRP app that you already have on your phone. And it doesn't mean that you need to hand your phone over to somebody. If somebody that's going to be scanning the tickets doesn't have a smartphone, you can go out and buy a $30, $40 Android from Walmart, no plan or whatever. Just get a burner phone, so to speak, and get the app on it, and you're good to go. So
now, if I let my people use that on their phones, because we found it last year, but giving you their username, does that also give them access to MyRacePass on their phone?
No, so like the MyRacePass for like live timing and scoring and all that stuff. No,
Right.
It just gives them. If they have an account already, then yes. But if they don't have any kind of paid account, all it does is give them access is just scan that ticket in for those events for your track. It doesn't give them access to live timing or anything like that.
Okay.
well, yeah, absolutely. You can use iPods, iPads, anything of that nature that has a camera on it, smart device. But yeah, I think with that, unless there's any other questions on tickets or questions, comments, anything of that nature. Next thing for tonight, we're going to go over the news portal. So on the left-hand side here, underneath of race management, is our news portal. This is super handy, whether you have a website from us or not. This is just a great way for you to put your press releases out there. They'll show up in the app. They'll show up on the MyRacePass.com website. They'll also, what's really cool is if you tag, and we'll go into this article from Josh Krug Racing, Chris's cousin here. Check this out. So if you'll see here, he's tagged a number of different drivers. So he's got Josh Krug tagged on this article. That's going to make it show up on Josh's profile. It's going to show up on Jacob Chody's profile as well. So you don't necessarily need to have a website from us to take advantage of this news section here, because it's, like I said, it's all there already inside this news portal. It's just really cool to be able to see how many different places that article can show up. If you're a racetrack and you tag a series or you tag a driver, you can tag it even an event or a class. So just wanted to point that out. And I guess one other cool thing that we did add is that anybody that's favorited your profile in the app, so if they've gone to Big Sky Speedway and hit that star on the profile, when you add this news, they're actually going to get a push notification. So if it's an article saying, you know, gate times have changed for this coming weekend, or maybe online tickets are available, or anything of that nature that you would push through this portal, anybody that's favorited your profile in the app will get a push notification when you process the article through here. So one thing to keep in mind, as you add the article, you can always go back and deactivate it. You can go in and edit it, whatever you need to do there. So the interface to actually do it and add a news article is super simple, just as you'd expect. There's a heading, the date of the news article. This is the actual news article date. I do see sometimes where people are using that as the event date. So if they're writing an article about their big event that they're going to have in July, sometimes they'll put that date here. This is actually the article date, so the date that the article was written. If you want to give credit to somebody, whoever maybe wrote the article, and then obviously paste in the body of the article there, like I said, paste it in. So I do recommend, since this is web-based, until you get comfortable with it, just type up your article in Microsoft Word, or who's ever writing your news releases, have them use Microsoft Word or Google Drive, what have you, copy it out of there and paste it in. Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
One thing to mention with that, the push notification thing too, as well there, Ross. I think this is something I'm still learning myself here, but if you type an article up, save it, and then come back to it later on and then post it, that does not push one out. Is that correct? It has to be pushed out in one swoop.
Yeah, not at this time. So there is a save for later option. If you're not done with it, you come back. So at that point, we don't actually, when you do come back and finish it, we don't actually push the alert to people's phones. We want to get a little bit more comfortable with that. The last thing we want to do is have, you know, how you'll have an email that gets sent out and everybody's like, oh my gosh, I apologize, that was a mistake. So we try to just be very diligent, I guess, with when we're sending out a push notification. So those do go out, like Chris said. If you go through this process in one motion, you preview the news and you hit publish, that's when it'll send it out. If you start the article, save it for later and come back, it's not going to do that. So just keep that in mind. The remaining pieces here are pretty simple. You can add photos to your news article, and then here's that tagging section we talked about, where you choose the type of racing, any drivers that are mentioned, the racetrack, series, event, class, just a number of different tags that can be added to the article to help it show up on different profiles throughout the network. So that is the news section.
I just want to summarize it. Make sure you guys heard this, that go out, encourage people through Facebook, through your pit meetings, everything else, for these drivers and fans, your announcer, to favorite your track on MyRacePass. Get a big thing going, favorite your track. Then when they do that, you guys as the MyRacePass user, help your promoters, tag these people, tag the drivers that are on there, tag other news outlets. Make sure that you're helping your promoters in this way to get stuff out there so that they are getting the recognition they deserve. Also, sometimes they're paying somebody to write these articles, get it out there so that everybody knows what's going on.
And Ross, we got a good question in the chat now from the user. Is the new section a good way to announce rainouts? So with that, that kind of goes back to favoriting as well too. We do have a feature now that when you cancel an event the week of the event, those that are favorited will get a push notification letting them know event canceled, and it goes out. It's only 6 or 7 days out. It's the week of the event, right, Ross?
Yeah, I think it's a 7-day window, but
yeah. So if you cancel an event 14 days in advance, it's not going to say anything to the fans just that week of, which generally is the case. Generally, you're going to rain out the day of the event, so they'll get a push notification to their phone. And for that, do we modify anything in there to where the security code you got to put in for the cancellation?
No, that needs to come from the racetrack though.
Okay.
So if it's a series, they can't actually do that. But as a racetrack, you have the option to cancel the event. We're not going to necessarily jump into there right now, but that's under season management, under your events. You could cancel it that way. I don't necessarily think that there's no reason to also follow it up with a press release and talk about, what you should do with your ticket stub, when the event might be ran. So you might actually end up doubling up on your notifications, which is fine, because the first one is just going to inform them and say, hey, the event's been rained out, and then they'll get a news article later on. So certainly each of those is definitely good to just keep everybody informed about what's going on. When the event might be made up, things of that nature. So one other thing that I kind of glossed over here on the news page, when you're inside of the single article view, there is this quick share option here, so you can post it directly to Twitter and Facebook in one sort of motion. I don't have them linked up to this test account, but you basically would just say post to Twitter, post to Facebook, and hit post, and it's going to send that article out to both your social media once you have those linked up. So super handy way to just kind of optimize your time and hopefully save you a little bit of time here and there. But the other thing, to Callie's point, back on your main dashboard here, you can keep track of how many people have favorited your profile in the app. So obviously your favorite track has been stuck at 22 favorites for a while, dating all the way back to September. Hopefully we can get a couple more, but just keep an eye on that. It's pretty cool to see it grow. So if you have your announcer or, mention something about favoriting a profile, or you put something on Facebook, check back here and just see what that did. You're going to see the numbers go up, and it's pretty cool to keep track of that.
That favorite feature, though, I did have a link in the comments here for you guys as well, too. That's a video I would recommend sharing to Facebook and Twitter, letting your fans know how to go ahead and favorite the profile. Push notifications get sent out for news that's shared in real time, fantasy racing picks being open, event cancellations the week of the event, and on top of that, when you guys send lineups over, or if you guys actually send information over to your timing and scoring system, they get a notification saying XYZ Raceway is live now. Click here to follow along. So that push notifications feature is an extremely valuable tool that is right there for you guys, and just really encourage you guys to go ahead and tell your fans how to favorite your profile.
Absolutely. So I think we'll probably move on from news unless anybody has any questions there. Anything else for right now, anyway?
Not unless you got a way to get my Facebook people, Instagram, and Twitter over to MyRacePass.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
I mean, just keep on them, let them know that the app is there, and just keep some fresh content out there too. So add your news, keep your schedule updated. That'll, obviously bring them in. So we love to hear that. Another way to do it, we're going to transition over to MRP Fantasy. So I think we mentioned briefly in a previous webinar about fantasy, but I just wanted to bring this up again. Just engage in that race fan. So this fantasy thing is still fairly new to us. We launched this last year, but it is a really powerful tool for you to keep the fan interested in, give them something to play along. I have WISSOTA 100 pulled up here from last year, so you can always go back and see the standings. You can see how an individual fan did. We do automatically drop. I think we keep the best 80% of their events, so they don't ever have to feel like they're out of the running. So in this case, it took the top 18 groups. I said events, but it's actually groups. So a class combination is how they earn their points there. Down at the bottom, you can see these are the events that they ended up not doing very well or didn't get enough points for it to be kept. So this is the public side of it. This is available in the app as well, not just on the website. I wanted to show you guys as well how you manage this. So on your dashboard, on the left-hand side here in Season Management, there's this Fantasy tab. So this, you can see a lot of these are auto-generated. These are the leaderboards. So the leaderboards are, think of them as kind of a collection of events and classes that accumulate points. Each of these leaderboards can have prizes associated with it. So you can create a custom leaderboard that'll allow you to set a date range, or maybe you want to tie it to a specific schedule, and you can have it maybe just be your top 2 premier classes, or however you want to do that. There's a number of different parameters when you create a leaderboard. I'll actually maybe just go through that real quick so you guys can see it. So your leaderboard is going to have a title, So we're just going to do fantasy racing April and May 2022. So you can kind of create like a shorter gameplay. Maybe you just want to do it for April, however you want to do that, so that they don't have to feel like they need to commit to doing it all season long. Is one of the ways to kind of go at this. The subtitle, that can be anything from a sponsor, the prize that's available, anything that you want to put in there. And then you would choose the classes that you're going to have compete. So maybe you just want to have it be for, maybe this is just for the sport compacts. And you want to choose, like I said, the date range, April and May. So we could have this start on April 1st and end on May 31st. And we'll click add. And we do need a subtitle. So maybe you got a hold of a free MRP pass and you can give that away. Obviously, you can give away tickets, give away a t-shirt from your t-shirt stand, maybe a hot dog, whatever you want to give away. You come in here after you get your leaderboard created and you actually just assign those prizes. It'll have you define out first place, second place, whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to go all the way to your top 10, you want to give a prize away. What's cool about this is it gives your announcer something to talk about. So before the races get started and he's just kind of killing time, it's a way for him to get the fans into the app, let them know who's there, and give them something to compete for, because anytime they got a rooting interest like this, it's definitely going to keep them coming back. So if you're not the person for this, please, let your promoter know, let somebody on staff know that this is available. Again, this is part of your plan. It's available. And the really cool part about this is we built it in such a way that, so I walked you through setting up a leaderboard here, but most of those leaderboards are auto-generated off an existing schedule. So in effect, you've already created the leaderboard, and everything else that happens when you build out your entry list, when you create your lineups, we generate the matchups automatically. The points are all calculated automatically as you import your results. So there's really nothing you have to do here except, like I said, if you want to give away a prize or something, just come in here, click on the leaderboard and add a couple prizes. Everything else just will kind of take care of itself. So we really, like I said, wanted to build this in such a way that it's not going to get in the way of what you're doing, but help promote your events and your season-long championships. So
We did this at the WISSOTA 100 last year, and we gave away prizes per class for what they won. They actually got to come to the banquet with complimentary or whatever. They came to the banquet, they got jackets, they got a trophy, they got all kinds of stuff. And so honestly, some of those people that won were so appreciative and had such a great time just playing along. You guys do this. It was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's addicting. I catch myself, because I guess this is another thing that once you do, like I said, it happens automatically. You create your entry list, and once you calculate the lineups, anybody that's favorited to your profile, again, they're going to get a push notification saying, hey, the matchups are available. Because the way the fantasy gameplay works is we take all your drivers that are there and we break them up into matchups based off of their point standings. So,
And they're not easy matchups either.
yeah, exactly. It's like from, say, a class that's got 25 cars in it, you might have 3 drivers per matchup. And those, like I said, those matchups are based off of the driver's point standing. So in effect, your first matchup is going to be the guys that are in first, second, and third in points. So you have to choose who you think is going to get the most fantasy points throughout the night. And that's how the fan will kind of build their team, their fantasy team, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pretty cool. Go ahead, Chris, if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, with the prizes too, guys, we really encourage you to talk to your current track sponsors about donating maybe something like a gift card or something like that. Because I can tell you that when you tell a sponsor of yours, hey, we have a fantasy racing system at our racetrack that's going to engage a fan base, and we want you to be a part of that, they're going to be thrilled about it, because it's a fan engaging thing. They're playing to win a prize from that sponsor. So it's a great way to play along here. Drivers as well. I know at I-80 Speedway last year, I've been announcing there now for 5 years, and I had one of the drivers last year tell me, hey, tell the fans tonight that after the races, anyone, the first 5 drivers first 5 fans that show me on the MyRacePass app, they picked me on fantasy racing, they get a free shirt. Because it helps the drivers get that fan base as well too. Because I'm not a big hobby style guy, but if I was playing fantasy racing and I pick drivers in the hobby stocks, I now have a reason to watch. I have a reason to be engaged instead of going to the restroom or going to get a beer. I now watch the action there, and I can make new fans now. So it's an incredible fan engaging tool that we really encourage everyone to really take full advantage of and have fun with it too. Talk about it on social media. Take a screenshot of your standings and tell the fans, hey, here's your fantasy racing standings for the year. So fantasy football, fantasy baseball, it's now fantasy racing.
You can also do it if you're at the races and even if you're not at the races that night, right? Now, do you still get more points if you're at the races?
Yeah, we give a small bonus if we've detected that your location is within, I think, a mile of where your racetrack is located. We do give a fantasy bonus for attending the event. So it gives the people that are not sitting at home on the couch, if they're actually, we've had it before where it's a tight race in fantasy and it comes down to, the last few races, and it might get them off the couch and say, I need those bonus points, So there's something to keep in mind. Again, here's the front side of what that looks like from last year at the WISSOTA 100. These are the actual leaderboards and kind of broken down here. So you have the all classes leaderboard. You have your WISSOTA modified champion, and then it goes through each class, the mod 4s, the Midwest mods, the super stocks. And so if you're somebody that knows a lot about, the modifieds, maybe you'll end up winning that one, but you got to try to compete and see if you can't win them all. So.
And one thing too, I know your staff wants to play along. If you want your staff to try and win, that's fine. If you don't, one thing we do at MyRacePass is when we go to events, we try and get last, which I don't try to. I just naturally do anyway. So we try to get last, and it's actually harder than you think. And Dakota, our newest member of the team here, he had to actually kind of take a step back. While he's got some pretty mad fantasy skills when it comes to fantasy racing, he's been pretty good at it. So tell your staff to play along. Maybe you don't want them to win. You want just the fans to win. So tell them, hey, just try and get last, and not whoever gets last gets the prize, maybe something like that.
Yeah, Debbie, absolutely. Any class that you're scoring the event for, the question was if it's only for WISSOTA or not. This is for any class that you have competing at your racetrack. So as you score the event, the fantasy comes available.
And with that too, Russ, I'm not sure if you mentioned this part or not too, but you can have your season-long fantasy racing leaderboard. But if you have like a major 3-day event coming up as well too that you want to be separate, you have your own fantasy champion for that, you can create a leaderboard for that specific set of races there. So the way it won't count against those that are playing the season-long one. It's just for that specific leaderboard as well too. I know like at IAD Speedway, we have one for the Silver Dollar Nationals just for those 4 dates. It doesn't go against the season-long one. So it's kind of a cool feature there. It's a huge event for that particular event there.
Yep. Stacy, so the dashboard side of it where you can add prizes and manage your leaderboards is under season management fantasy. The public view, the front side view, comes available with each event. So if you haven't held an event yet this year, it won't be out there. But once that first event is held, you'll see in the app next to like lineups and results, there'll be a fantasy tab that shows up on the event profile. That's where they'll make their picks. And then we calculate points per event. There'll be a fantasy tab on your track profile as well that then will show the standings for your different leaderboards in the app. So,
do you have to be a paid member to get fantasy?
Fantasy is in our all access plan. Okay. So as a race fan, if you are playing fantasy, you're going to have access to everything. So it comes with live timing, it comes with the detailed points, and that's the all access, which is $5.99 a month or $54.99 a year if you want to pay for it all at once.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely the most bang for your buck there. You're going to get the live timing, everything. So yeah, glad you brought that up, Cal. I think that's all I have for fantasy. Anybody else have anything they want to add? I think we're good. Last couple of topics here then for tonight. I don't think it'll take too long. We'll touch on the contact list. So anywhere within season management, on the top right-hand side under settings, there's this contact list option. So if you go in there, this is going to show anybody that's registered with you and given you, their phone number, address, any number of things, anybody that you've added that information for outside of online registration. Maybe you just filled it out in the entry list. I'm not going to click on one and do like I did in the last webinar where I Had to have somebody go through and blur out the video before we could post it. But you can imagine what an address book looks like. That's all this is. So this is anybody that's filled out an online registration. The cool part about it is it allows you to easily get at a list of mailing labels. So if you want to send out, I don't know, any number of things. If you're having a race party at the end of the year, or if you're having a banquet, or maybe you just want to send out Christmas cards, you can click on this mailing labels option, and it's going to automatically generate mailing labels for anybody that's registered with you. Anybody that, like I said, if you put their information into here, that's you'll be surprised. If you haven't visited this page, go in there and look. It's likely going to be fairly lengthy. So all that is there for you to help promote and market your facility or any upcoming events.
So this is in here per if someone filled out a registration or just raced at your track.
Yeah, if you put them in the entry list, and then in the entry list, there's that entry info where you can fill out an address there that's sort of not necessarily tied to a registration, but you have the option to put an address on file for check printing or any number of other reasons that you might have accumulated an address for that driver or team. Because I guess I should point that out here. This is actually showing drivers, teams, and tracks and associations, but you guys are mostly going to be concerned with the drivers and teams. So anybody that you've ever printed a check off for and mailed it to them through MRP, that's going to all show up here. So it's drivers and teams. The other handy thing about this is that when you go to do your 1099s, you're going to have a good address to be able to mail those out. So keep an eye on this. Make sure it stays up to date. There might be something that,
That's what I was going to say. So if you have Holt Racing and you didn't get his address and you have a driver information sheet that you do have, but you want it in here for other stuff, do you go over, how do you put the information in there manually that you didn't get that you should have?
Yeah, so you can just add a new one. You could search for whoever. I think we have some sample drivers out there. And you basically would add that driver and then update their address information right here. So again, this is bypassing registration. It's going to be more work for you to do it that way. I would definitely recommend setting up an online registration and let them submit this information to you. It's going to save you a whole lot of time on the computer, and you're not dealing with paper forms or what have you, but it is up to you to keep it updated. So
but if they did race and you want to just edit it.
Yep. So it'll show up. It'll show up in this list here, and then you can just off to the right hand side, go and view that one and click the edit button.
Okay.
So,
perfect.
And that's not going to mess with Callie's registration, right? That's not going to mess with your registration, right?
This is all in your own track.
Okay, because I don't need any more Z's in my database.
Don't use a Z ever. If you guys ever see a name Z'd out, that means there was a duplicate entry. Do not use them.
Yeah, if their name starts with a Z, multiple Z's, I should
multiple
say.
Z's, yeah,
multiple Z's.
Don't use it.
Let us know, and we'll get her cleaned up further. But those are ones that we've kind of marked for being merged at a later time. So, message there from Gay Hale. You're asking drivers about mailing address on the registration. I don't know that it's labeled out specifically as mailing. I don't have that in front of me right now, but if that is becoming more of an issue, that's not something that I've heard anyway, but if we need to maybe label that out better, that they use their actual mailing or shipping address rather than a physical address, we should probably take a look at that. So I'll make a note of that and just see if we've heard other reports of that. I appreciate that. Yeah, great tool for, like I said, getting mailing labels, sending out 1099s. Speaking of 1099s then, that is one of the things we're going to just touch on real quick tonight. Under the reports tab here on the left-hand side, it kind of looks like a little chart. There's a number of reports out here. I just mentioned the 1099 report. That's going to be, you can easily jump to different sections here. So like your points and pay reports is going to include this yearly payout report. So if I pop that open, it's going to give you a quick view of who you don't have addresses for. So this is a good way to audit that list. If someone's raced with you and they are going to be needing a 1099 at the end of the year, don't wait until December to open this up. Keep an eye on this, and if there's anybody that you don't have an address for and you're going to need one, be sure to catch them the next time they come to the racetrack and fill it out accordingly. So this 1099 report defaults to showing anyone that's made $600 and up. So if there's somebody that you would have expected to be in here and they're not, just go ahead and switch this to all payees, and that'll show you anybody that's ever been given a check or at least had a payment pending. I mentioned that because this report is actually built off of your payments. So if you calculated your points in pay, but didn't actually hit that create payments button to create your checks, this report is not going to include them. This is only those that have actually been a part of a payment. So think of it as expected payout and actual earnings. So when you calculate your points in pay, that's what they're expected to be paid. But until you create those payments, it hasn't become earnings. So this report is an earnings report. So there's kind of two different things going on there. And I can't stress that enough. A lot of people get to the end of the year and they wonder why this report is blank. So if you have not created any payments, this report will be useless to you. So just be sure that calculate your points and pay, and then also create your payments. Other than that, if you're doing those two things, this is going to be super handy for you at the end of the year. Print this off, take it to your accountant, or import it into whatever software you might be using to do 1099s. We don't actually print the 1099s for you. We give you the report and the information that you'll need to complete them. It's just not something that, I mean, we've got too many features already, and for us to try to compete with something like QuickBooks is a little bit overwhelming for myself and the rest of the development team. So we give you the data you need to, like I said, take that to your accountant or whoever's going to be handling that part for you.
Your accountant's not in your back pocket? Because I'm pretty sure I'm on speed dial with that woman.
It's a good one to have, actually.
Yeah, by the end of the night, she knows what checks you've issued.
Certainly. So that's the 1099 report is just one of many reports. I'm not going to go into all these, but take some time and review what's out there. Again,
Can you show them? I guess it might be in a different part, but can you show them where the point average report is?
Yeah, so that's actually inside of race management. So if we go in here and if you're on an event inside of race management, there's a report up here for the WISSOTA point average.
Yep.
And I'm not sure. Okay, we do have some data that's going to build this. This will be a report that you could print off at the end of the night and keep it for the next week, or maybe print off at the beginning of the night. This is just I would recommend printing it off just in case you do have some sort of hiccup with your internet or what have you. At least then you have your point average to be able to build your lineups. It's just a quick and easy way to see where people are standing.
Yep.
With their 3 race point average. So
this report, I highly recommend you post it upon draw each night. Then if someone comes in, they get in the invert, they're going to know exactly where they start if you're doing the point average, which you should be other than a special. Also, like Ross said, if something happens to your internet, you are going to have a backup to where your people should be starting in the feature. Very, very good insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep one of these handy.
Last year, at the end of the season last year, because Jordan Toshi went over and ran the WISSOTA 100, I used that report to post my top 10, and I found out it's alphabetical. It might ignore your point, and it put him in 3rd when he should have been in 1st. Might be something you guys got to look at. I can go back and find my archives for that, because I literally put it out on Facebook and Instagram, and he's like, "What the hell, dude?" I'm like, I totally missed that.
Well, can you click it to make it point average?
Yeah, I would be curious.
Thought I did, but before,
Okay.
when I went through it, it moved him back down to 3rd, and I'm like, because he missed 2 races in there that he got the points for, because he was at the 100. So he didn't get points from our track for that, but the way it read out on the report, I was like, and then I forgot to bring it up to Austin or send it over to Austin, and I'm like, I think something's goopy with the report, but
Yeah, certainly send that over. I'd like to take a look at that because it's possible, like, you know, by default, I believe it's sorted by actual point totals. If you were wanting to sort it by the average, just make sure that you click that column there.
and that might have been my fault. I might
Yeah.
have forgot to do that because, you know, I move everything into a PDF before I post it. So,
Sure. Yeah, just send that our way. I'd like to take a look at that. So
okay.
just support at MyRacePass. I don't think we've mentioned that yet, but anytime you need to get something our way, if you send it to support at MyRacePass, it'll go to any number of us instead of just sending it to one person. So we can, if somebody happens to be out of the office or busy with something else, we can all
Oh,
get
no,
at it.
you guys have been great. I can't complain at all. You guys have been awesome.
I appreciate that.
Also with this, if you have a night that you are your national points only and not track points, then that race date will be not in here, correct?
Right. Yep, exactly. So this is just those that have been used on your WISSOTA schedule.
Yep, because you can, if you guys are having a special, you can choose in points and pay to go just have it national points only. And
Yeah.
if you do that, just remember that it will not be in your point average then. So if you run a Friday and Joe Blow starts on the pole and you have a special in between there that you give national points only, and the next week you go back to point average, Joe Blow is going to start on the pole again because that race didn't have any point average. So that is a common question.
Yep. So this MRP late models class right now is not being WISSOTA sanctioned, so the option's not there, but there would be an option if this were a WISSOTA sanctioned class right below your list of schedules to choose national points only. So that's what Callie's referring to there, and that will omit that event from your point average. So I think, let me just double check. I don't think that WISSOTA point, oh, it is. Okay, so that is available here as well. So you don't necessarily have to go into race management to get to that report. It's on the reports page here in your points and pay reports, the WISSOTA point average. But yeah, there's a ton of them out here. Entry list reports, if you want to see somebody's average pill draw. I don't know if there's going to be anything in here or not, but based off of a set of events, you can quickly see if somebody says, well, you know, I never draw less than a 50. Well, you can go here and see, well, your average is a 39. So you're doing pretty good. But
I recommend promoters check this every once in a while. The main scorer, check this every once in a while. Let's make out if something looks weird in here, it probably is. So just check that out. Make sure everything looks, you know, on the up and up. And again, yeah, you're going to get a guy that says, I draw 99 every single night. Well, no, you don't. Here's your average draw right here. So
yeah.
The entry list also has the draw number on it, right?
Yep.
I print that at the WISSOTA 100 because we do a redraw. We have a new number 1 pill. And so I just print that off so that I can always remember what the new number 1 is, because people do have that question too. So
yeah, keep in mind with this, we do see sometimes where this report will get obviously skewed if you've ever changed how many pills you're drawing from. So if the first half of the year you had 200 pills available, and then you decided towards the end of the year you had less cars showing up for whatever reason, and you dropped it down to 100, that's obviously going to skew this report quite a bit. So try to not change that max pill that's available if you want to have this report maintain a point of reference, I guess. So just try to stay consistent with that.
So I need to bump mine to 250.
Yeah, whatever that number is, ultimately it doesn't really matter as long as it's high enough to sustain the entire season. And
Yeah, we started out at 100, then out of the damn blue, we had 125 Midwest Mod show up. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's always better to guess too high. You can't guess too high on the number of pills.
I will make a note of that.
Yeah. So yeah, any questions on any of these reports, just get a hold of us and we'd be happy to explain further. One that will save you in the event that you do have an issue come up, this Westhold Race Manager. So if you're using Westhold, they have an easy way to import your assignments. So if for whatever reason you can't get MRP Live to pull down your lineups, you can always go to this Westhold Race Manager lineups option here and just copy and paste them right into Westhold. Bunch of different result reports. The yearly hard charger, that's kind of a cool one. That'll tell you who passed the most cars throughout an entire season. If you want to give an award away at the end of the year, that's a super handy report. Just a whole slew of different points reports, and then a number of just stats, exports, things like that based off of your drivers. So yeah, I don't think we have time to dive into all those, but any questions before we do move on? Again, this is on the left-hand side under the reports tab. Just go ahead and poke around. These are all read-only, so you're not gonna affect anything. You just click on the report and see what's in there. It doesn't really, don't worry about screwing anything up, I guess is what I'm trying to say, for lack of better terms. Just click around till your heart's content. Yeah, I think we just have one more topic for the night then. The rest of the tools that do come with the website are under this web management tab.
Mhm.
So we have this labeled out as web management. Really, it could be, I mean, whether you have a website from us or not, you can always use this to kind of just organize information. So we talked about the news tab. There's photos, videos, managed files is going to create like a section for like PDFs or different downloads. So if you have a website, this will populate the website automatically. If you don't have a website, this is more or less just a way for you to kind of organize information. So there's the store tab that goes into all of our e-commerce stuff for adding products. Just a number of different data points, I guess, out here. So pretty handy to organize like race day information, whether it be for drivers or fans. Just a ton of different pages, camping information, grandstand info. Yeah, there's a city page. So the city page is pretty cool. That's how you can list out different attractions for, you know, whether it's camping or hotels or different things that people can do when they come to your area. Play around with this stuff. It's all, like I said, it's all out there. It's just a matter of taking the time to look around and yeah, just like I said, put a little bit of information into it and see what happens, because it's certainly not going to hurt anything. It's some of this stuff will show up on your MyRacePass profile. If you do have a website, like I said, this will populate the website and enhance their experience and hopefully prevent a few phone calls or things like that. If you can have anything of this like this posted online, it's definitely gonna keep down the amount of, you know, interaction or feedback that you're having to answer these questions on Facebook or by email or what have you. If you can post it out there, they might just come across it and be able to answer their own questions. So with that, I don't know if there's much else for tonight. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Chris or Dakota, Callie, you guys have anything you want to add?
Of course I do.
Perfect.
I would like to review a 2-day event. Last week with Austin, we never really got too much into that. And I have a couple people that they are questioning a couple things. If you have a 2-day event, first day is your heats, second day is your B features and features. I want them to know how you can dump things into the second day. What happened last year was heats on the first day, took everything and pulled it over to the second day. Well, not everything, I redid everything, but left the heats on the first day. So anybody that ran the heat but didn't run a B feature or feature got 0 points. They should have gotten their 45 event points and didn't. And I know we have a way that we can go, you know, a 2-day show. I know we do that. However, if we want to take the people out or whatever, I just want to go over that.
Yeah.
And then multiple heats where you run the first round of 3 heats and then you go to 4, 5, and 6. We haven't shown anybody that.
Yeah, obviously I don't have that built out or ready to go right now, but in my opinion, it's going to be a lot easier to actually run. So say you run in your heats the first day, go ahead and actually create your feature lineups and print them out on that same day. And then go to your second day and do your import from previous. So you'd come over here, import your entry list from the previous race day to build it all back out again so you don't have to check everybody back in. But then use that printout or what you had entered on the first day to create your lineups for your B features and your A features on that second day, since the system's already calculated them for you. As far as the points part of it goes, I'd have to try that out, Callie, to be honest. Does that come up quite a bit where you're
I've had it come up where because it's a 2-day show and they run, because people are looking when they're going to look for the race that next day, they're looking for that date. So they don't want to put everything on one date. They want to move it over to that Saturday, because everybody's looking for Saturday. And when they do that, if they don't also then put every single heat that was ran on that Saturday, somebody that broke or something in our system gets no points. I know we're not supposed to get heat points, but if you break, you get your 45 event points. And then those don't move. So everybody that didn't get to race shows up as zeros.
Sure. So you're saying it would be preferred then to run your heats and then move everything over to that second day to avoid that situation?
Well, doesn't really matter to me. I just want these people to know what is best. What is the easiest for them?
I don't want to misinform anyone, and I'm actually not sure. Dakota, do you know the answer to that? Anybody? I haven't dealt with that for quite a while. I apologize. I would have to run that through and see exactly what's going to happen. We can probably follow up with, we could probably shoot out an email specifically about this to answer that question. I was not ready for that. I apologize, Kelly.
That's all right. I threw it at you after last week on support, but I get it. So Tammy Joe, just know that you have a very, very valid question. So you're very welcome. And the other thing is, because it's becoming more and more people doing 2 rounds of heats, you invert or do whatever you do and do another round of heats. Kind of go over that a little bit.
Yeah. So you set up your races here, and let's say instead of running 2 heats, you're actually going to run 4. Basically, with the first heats 1 and 2 being straight up, for example, and heats 3 and 4 being an invert, you'll actually end up just choosing a different lineup. So if we go into our lineups here and go to the heat races, this is going to come down to I think it's actually it's the karting 4, 6, 8 heats. So that's going to drop everybody into the first 2 heats by their pill, as they would straight up. And then the second ones, you can see the 0-2 car was on the pole. So in the third heat, he's starting at the tail. And likewise, the 13 was on the pole of heat 2. He's starting on the tail of heat 4.
Okay.
So
for anybody that runs a Chris show, the way he does it, go ahead and do this, but you'll probably have to manipulate it manually, because he doesn't just invert them. He has a calculation that he does. And so he uses a shift. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly, but
so there is
just
a
know
lineup.
you can do it. So
There is a lineup like that. It's actually labeled as a shift. There we go. 2 round heats. The first round being straight up, and the second round being inverted with a shift. This is super hard to explain, but it basically, if you're staggering people into your second round of heats, if you got 2 races, I think it would do every 3rd driver would actually skip a race. So they're in effect shifted, and they end up racing against other people instead of racing against the same person.
yes, so that's what he does.
Yeah, I've seen a variation of this that's slightly different, but go ahead and just try this out if you wanted to see what that looks like. Try that out in Sandbox just to see what it does.
So anybody that needs to, go play with it in the Sandbox. If you have questions, send it to MyRacePass, so they can kind of play with it. It is becoming more popular as a special. So I just wanted you guys to know how to do it in case somebody asks you, you'll kind of be ready with some knowledge. So
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing too, I guess with multiple rounds of heats, if you were gonna, I'm just gonna delete some of these drivers out of here, out of the second or out of the fourth and third heats. You'll see if you're gonna do this manually, since everybody's already been included in heats 1 and 2, you don't have the option to put anybody into heat 3. There's this selector down at the bottom here that you have to allow entries in multiple races. So now you can see that these lit up over here. I can then manually build that lineup for heat 3 and choose heat 4 and then build that lineup as well. So by default, we only allow the entries to be in one race. So once they've all been entered, that's why this was grayed out to begin with. If I just switch that back, you'll see what that looks like. If I just go back to one race, you'll see they've all been entered, so I can't do anything here. So keep that in mind if you are running multiple heats, multiple rounds of heats, I should say, and you wanted to build out your lineups manually, just make sure that you choose multiple races down here.
thank you.
As far as calculating them, obviously it's going to be easier, and there are, I would say, probably 3 or 4 different multi-round heat options out here. Like here's a 2-round heats with a random order. There's, yeah, we looked at the shift. There's, I think, at least 3 or 4. The karting stuff is pretty common that they'll run multiple rounds. So just go ahead and take a look, see what's out there, and if we don't have it and it's something you're going to run every week, let us know. Maybe it's something we can build for you. So
Okay, perfect. I did have a question come up today also about WISSOTA license number. I just want to make sure everybody knows, because there's some new people on here, that WISSOTA doesn't really give a license number anymore. It's all by computer. So if you're looking for a driver information sheet and you want them to put their WISSOTA license on it, that's not a thing anymore. So they could put the invoice or something number on it if you wanted them to, but you're going to know that they're licensed the night that you have them draw, and then the WISSOTA information will be on the left-hand side of the draw. So really there's no WISSOTA licenses anymore, per se, of number.
sure.
Rainouts, make absolutely sure that you get me your rainouts immediately. Did we go over where those were and everything? If you rain out that day?
Yeah, so down here, if you go to the event details, there's this running as scheduled down at the bottom. You basically just click that and choose that you're actually going to rain that event out. You can include a message there and then check this box. If it is within a week of the event, it'll, like Chris said, it'll send out a push notification letting people know that the event has been rained out. So
If you decide to pick something besides rain out, if you're going to reschedule or something, I encourage you to put a little message in there. I think people can see that, and then I can also see it.
Yep.
I then know kind of what you have planned, and I maybe won't be asking you where your points are or something if something happens. But please get that rain out on there ASAP. When I go through the points every week, I also do all the invoicing for every track. I use 2 screens. I do invoicing and points at the same time. If I see that you haven't put rain out in, your promoter still gets charged for that race, because I don't know any different. So please make sure that that's done immediately.
yeah, absolutely. And when you do rain an event out, just a quick, easy way to see when or if you've actually taken action on that, this event status over here, it'll actually change to like a little rain cloud or what have you. So just a quick, easy way for you to run down and make sure that, like Callie said, if it's something that you need to mark as a rain out, just do a quick review of that status column, and that'll show you what you have marked as being rained out or postponed, canceled, what have you.
I'd rather you check it than 3 weeks later me send you an email. It'd be easier. I am going to start. I see tons and tons of schedules out on Facebook, and that is awesome. Please make sure you're getting them into MyRacePass. I am going to start sanctioning schedules. Hope by next week. I'm going to finish up the rest of it. tomorrow, getting all my stuff in. I will start sanctioning next week. So if you guys are wondering if they are, please remember where you can go in and you can see the green WISSOTA box. That means that it is sanctioned. If anything looks weird in there or in any of your races, you can ask me about it or whatever, but get that in there. Remember that once I have your stuff sanctioned, I have no idea if you're changing anything. You have to let me know if you are adding anything after that original schedule went in. If you don't let me know and you don't put it in, it's going to be all messed up for you that night. So please make sure that if you make any changes that I know about it. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to point out, I don't know if this has been brought up in a previous webinar or not, but we do have this WISSOTA specific page out there on MyRacePass.com. So if you go to MyRacePass.com/info/WISSOTA, this is going to kind of give you a rundown of everything you need to know as a WISSOTA scorer, promoter, what have you. Great tool just for a quick rundown of different things that you have to know. Aside from obviously knowing how to use season management and race management, there's just some things that are WISSOTA specific on here. Great resource for social media posts, different downloads that are available.
And you as MyRacePass users, you need to know the front of that rule book like the back of your hand. So if someone asks you if something's wrong, you know exactly what you're talking about. Let MyRacePass do the work for you. I promise you it's right. So if someone questions you about a lineup or something, again, you have that point average sheet printed, but know the front of that book, know those rules that you, for administration on how you're doing things, know that. I cannot stress that enough, to know that part of the rule book.
We'd have to get the drivers to read the rule book.
Well, that's the administrative part for how you do lineups and how they get points. So you are absolutely correct. But if you know it, then you can tell them. So.
Absolutely. Last thing then I'll leave you with, MRPhelp.com. That's our knowledge base. Great tool for searching a variety of topics. If you can't find it on there, feel free to shoot us an email at support@myracepass.com or give us a call. The number is listed on this page as well. Be happy to help you out and make sure that you guys have a great season. So with that, unless anybody else has anything, I think we're good for tonight. I appreciate everyone attending. Awesome group of people here tonight. So thank you again for taking some time out of your weekday evening, and best of luck this year. I appreciate it.
I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
See you later.